And now, from the Room 111 studios, it's Hacking Engagement with James Sternovin.
Well, hello, listener. Welcome back to the Hacking Engagement Podcast. I'm going to wager that you have a go-to lesson plan, a go-to activity, a default, something that you can lay on kids if you want to up the engagement game. I have one of those. It's a Socratic Seminar. What I love about Socratic Seminars is it's ultra engaging and student understanding of complex topics is evident when you do the assessment. Well, recently I was working through a unit that included the topic, the Syrian Civil War. Now, that's a complex topic. The previous unit, I had conducted a Socratic Seminar, and guess what? I just didn't feel like the juice was there. I felt like the kids kind of went through the motions. And, that's my default lesson plan, my default activity. So for the Syrian Civil War, I thought that I would alter things. I would change things up. Now, I think almost everyone who's listening has done simulations and role plays. What I'm going to promote in this episode is that you combine those things with a Socratic Seminar. In other words, students are going to come to the Socratic Seminar as somebody else. And this is going to force them to grasp another's perspective. And, that's a very important intellectual skill. Now, to help me in this quest are two really cool young men. First is Spencer Cappel. I'm going to warn you. Spencer Cappel does an amazing, uncanny Donald Trump impersonation in my Socratic Seminar, and he also lays it on you, my loyal listener. And then the other young man is Josh Kent. He's like a Socratic Seminar all-star. It's just a perfect format for him. He just speaks with such authority. Now, one thing that's really interesting is he plays the leader of Iran. Iran is no fan of Israel. He laid some very anti-Semitic statements out when we did this Socratic Seminar, and students were like, whoa, where's that coming from? Well, he's just playing his role really well. That was one of those provocative type things that comes out in a situation just like this. So, needless to say, you're going to love this episode. Buckle up, all that. But I want you to try to think about how you can take a complex subject that you're currently teaching and maybe throw in some role play and perhaps do a Socratic circle. Hey there, listener. Please check out my book, Hacking Engagement, 50 Tips and Tools to Engage Teachers and Learners Daily. It's available on Amazon as of the late summer of 2016. And also check out hacklearning.org for a cornucopia of teacher empowerment resources. If you enjoy the Hacking Engagement Podcast, do us a solid. Subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. Okay, let's get back to the solutions part of the Hacking Engagement Podcast. So here we are in the Room 111 studios on just a wonderful Wednesday in the springtime here in Central Ohio. It's getting warmer. It's getting sunny. And I have these two guys. They're getting ready to graduate. And I had to have them in because they have added so much to my class this year. And I had to get them before they were gone. I mean, these guys are hot commodities. They're out the door before I know it. On my left, I have a young man by the name of Spencer Cappel. Say hello, Spencer.
Hey.
And I got Josh Kent on my right. Say hello, Josh.
Hi.
But I'm not going to call them by their given names. I'm going to call them by their Sturdivant nicknames. So over here, Spencer, he is the Spackle. That's kind of his name morphed together. I call Spencer Spackle because what he does is if you have a weak argument, he will literally fill in the cracks. That's beautiful, my man. Now, Josh is called the Gentry. Josh Kent is called the Gentry, and that's a convoluted story from about 4 years ago. But when I think of the Gentry, I think of somebody who's very refined. And that is Josh. Josh is a Renaissance man. He's a gentleman. He's a scholar. He's an athlete. There's very few topics you can't give out to Josh, and he's going to give you an opinion because he's experienced most of them. So we're here to talk about Socratic seminars today, guys. And I'm so glad you're here. Spencer, what do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
To be quite honest, I have no idea. I was not prepared to answer this question.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something, man. There's a lot of kids your age that think they know what they're going to be doing 10 years from now, and they're going to be ending up doing something different. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that answer's bad at all. What are you going to do next year?
I plan on going to Columbus State, just, get my undergrad.
Yeah.
Yeah, then from there I'm going to transfer to, who knows, higher up college.
Have you ever thought about a gap year?
Gap year? No, I haven't thought about it, but I think that, I don't know, it's not completely out of, the realm of possibility.
Right. So very good, man. And I'll tell you what, you're a really good student. I definitely want to see you get the college degree at some point, and you'll thrive in college, man. You'll thrive. JK, the Gentry, what do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
Well, I've always wanted to go to college, and I've known that for sure, but dentistry is something that I've been interested in since freshman year, but mainly cosmetics, just because I want to be the dentist, people want to go to. Yeah, but hopefully in 10 years I'll be already graduated, I'll be financially stable. I mean, I think I'm pretty certain that I have a plan.
So you have a pretty intense route here ahead of you in the next few years, don't you?
Yeah, I'm confident that I can do it.
Oh, you'll be fine, man. You're a brilliant guy. So here's the thing, man. We're all about Socratic Seminars in Mr. Sturtevant's class. It is a great way to learn stuff because it's self-directed. The students are actually getting into material and they're learning about stuff. I've been teaching for a long time, and what I have found is topics covered in Socratic Seminars are the topics that students understand the best. That's just my view. I want to talk to these guys. What do you think of Socratic Seminars, Spencer?
Oh, well, I don't call them seminars, though. I call them Socratic circles.
Yeah, you know what? I used to call them circles, too, and then I found that everybody calls them seminars.
Really? Okay. Well, Socratic seminars, I really like them because I think it shakes it up, throws us a curveball because people like, the Gentry and I, we're used to teachers just telling us what to do. We're used to being, we're used to hey, A, B, and C. You have, finish assignment A, so you can do assignment B, and then you get a grade. But I think that Socratic seminars are really good because it gives us a chance to find out what works for us.
Let me jump in there for a second because the first Socratic seminar you were in my class, or circle, whatever you call it, whatever you want, man, was last year. And you're a pretty calm person, and you're a pretty reserved person. But in that Socratic circle, you absolutely shined, and it really impressed me. So it's a good format for someone like you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a great format. Really lets you really dig in there and put your own opinion there,
right?
While all the while getting involved with other people's opinions too, because it's a place where you can respect what they're saying. I respect what Josh is saying, but I don't always agree with it.
Very good. Now, Josh, I really put you in the same category. You are not a real extroverted student in class. You're not somebody that's going to be jumping into start conversations. But in this format, this Socratic seminar format, man, you just blossomed.
Oh, yeah. Because I know exactly what I want to say. I'm very confident in what I've researched and what I've developed in my head. Yeah. And then I just say it with confidence, knowing that my argument may trump the other person's.
And I got to tell you guys something. It's very interesting when you're in one of these seminars or circles. It's quite evident that you guys were natural leaders in that situation, where other times in class you kept a low profile. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I try to be. I really like how everyone can just chip in on their opinions, and it really gives kind of arbitrary knowledge that kind of comes with history. It just gives it a purpose and some application. And with everyone chipping in their ideas, it definitely gets heated, and there's definitely a lot of emotion that kind of pairs with that. And from what I remember from psychology, that's definitely beneficial to memory.
Hey, have you ever had a Socratic seminar in a class other than a social studies class?
I have not, but I have found myself just.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
But I've found myself explaining it to friends plenty of times, exactly what we've talked about. And
so
just as interesting. They find it just as interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're a dentist, and you're going to be a dentist, and so you've taken a lot of science classes.
Yes,
wouldn't a Socratic seminar be awesome in science class?
Definitely.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of do that in physics. We do something like that. Yeah. He kind of puts something on the board, and then he wants everyone to chip in and try and figure it out.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, he does.
So you'd like to see this more in other subjects? Okay, yes. We've done a number of Socratic circles in here, and I got to the point where I thought I had to change things up a bit. So we did something totally different about a month ago. We took an incredibly complex topic, which is the Syrian Civil War.
Yeah.
And instead of just like saying, hey, here's the Syrian Civil War, let's have at it, I thought to try something unique. I thought to put these individuals, all the individuals in class, into a role. In other words, they were going to advocate from a position that wasn't them, from a position that was somebody else. And these guys, man, they just thrive in this situation. Let's talk a little bit about that Socratic Seminar where we assume different roles in the Syrian Civil War.
I don't think there was a better way to do it. The way you did it, it definitely let us all know how much confusion there is, how much debate, how much controversy. Like it's just really hard to come to an agreement. And when you're researching solely for your country, you become biased, just as the leaders of those countries do. You know, they support their own country. A lot of them are very nationalistic, but like having that support of your country, it really. It's fun to kind of battle it out with these other people.
Yeah, battle being the key word, because that it wasn't so much of very calm philosophical debate. It was putting leaders against each other in the Civil War, in the role.
Well, I'm so glad you're saying this, man, because here was my fear when I assigned this, is that no one would really care. Mm-hmm. Syrian Civil War seems something half a world away. Who cares? But when you have to advocate for a position, it puts you in a position where you have to care. Mm-hmm. And you have to promote and you have to advocate for that position. That's perfect, man. Before we go any further, and you remember this, because everybody in the room was laughing. One person was the United States. Leader of the United States is Donald Trump, the President of the United States. So Spencer over here, the spackling, he was Donald Trump. But it wasn't enough just to be Donald Trump.
I had the honor of playing our leader, our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. And I figured, Donald Trump's such a character. I think that just researching his policies towards, the Middle East, towards China, towards all of that stuff.
No, not China, but
not China, but
China.
It came up in research. China.
There you go.
Huge research. I didn't think that. I didn't think that just knowing the policies was enough. You really gotta see. The whole point of this Socratic circle was to get into the role. Right. So I thought, what better way to get into the role than, do a Trump impression? Okay. See, I did the most research, the most fantastic amount of research you will ever see. Period. Bar none. Okay? See, no one does better research than I do when it comes to the Middle East. See, because you do not deserve nukes, okay? Because you're not. I can't.
you guys get the picture. This was just one of the most magical days in the classroom. This guy over here, he has the facial expressions which you can't see. He's got the intonation, the accent, and what happened was. Everybody was laughing, but everybody was learning. So, Gentry, man, you're listening to this guy. What did you think of his impersonation?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very comical, definitely. But I loved kind of making Trump look unintelligent and making him look like he was a bad leader because, I was obviously taking the position of the leader of Iran.
Yeah.
So like being the leader of Iran, I attacked Trump for the typical things that he gets attacked for, and that's just being an unsteady leader and not really having a solid idea of what to do all the time.
I hope the listeners grasp what just took place just a minute ago, because the Gentry over here made a statement. I wanted to make Trump look bad. That is not coming from the Gentry. That is coming from the character he's playing. That's how deep these guys got. So in other words, he wanted to make Trump look bad because Iran and the United States are at odds, and you did it brilliantly, and you explained that brilliantly.
Yeah, the United States in general as well, because my main argument was the favoritism that they showed often toward Jews, and then you had the Jewish people, and then you had the Muslim people, or the Islamic people, and both were kind of clashing in Israel, but yet. It seems that America always wants to intervene as soon as the Jewish are kind of at a disadvantage. And that was a big point of mine coming from a Muslim leader.
And that's exactly what the Iranians would say. Exactly what the Iranians would say.
I know that, just before we did the circle, we were walking up. I'm like, okay, Josh, listen, I really need to so I didn't really I don't have a lot of information here, so I'm going to need you to give me a few tips. And he wouldn't do it because he wanted to make me look really bad for the circle.
That's perfect.
He wanted, because normally, we help each other out before the circle. It's like, okay, dude, this is a good point. Make sure you cover this. But he didn't do that this time.
It gets competitive.
It was competitive. We got into it.
So I'm telling you right now, man, if you want to take your Socratic circle and you've been doing it for a while and you want to up the game, have students assume roles. They have to argue from the perspective of that role. These guys, I'm telling you, they were great at it. But they weren't alone. It was a powerful Socratic circle. Sometimes I'm like, okay, somebody needs to ask a question here. No problem in this one. None. It was hard to get it stopped. So let's go one more time. Let me just ask you this question. You're talking to educators all over the place here. What's one piece of advice you would give them, either about doing Socratic circles or about the Socratic circles themselves? Go ahead, Spackle.
Oh, so the teachers got to listen to us.
That's right.
Kind of like the Cultural Revolution. We're going to teach the teachers a lesson.
Touche.
All right, well, I think that, Cultural Revolution.
There you go. Yeah.
I think that Socratic circles, or seminars, are a great way to get the students involved. But I'd also say don't be afraid to, jump in, give them a little hands, just to let them know what direction to take it in. Because, I think that while the circles or seminars give students a lot of freedom, I think that it's really helpful when we have teachers to, still, do the role and guide us along, a gentle push in the right direction.
Beautiful. Gentry, hit me.
I think definitely Socratic circles or Socratic seminars are really good for teachers because they really have to do minimal work. The only thing that I would really stress is that they spend time thinking of engaging questions.
Yes.
Right.
And these engaging questions must really connect with the students, and once one student's going, it does not stop. It is just the ignition to an explosion of debate.
Hey, I got to explain one thing. We just had the maintenance staff cruise by with a power mower. This is not a violent situation on the outside. We are not in Syria. It's just background noise. Guys, you've been wonderful. I mean, you've been fantastic. I'm going to miss you so much next year. Hey, Josh, what you doing after this, man?
I was just going to go meet up with some friends, but I wanted to do this podcast because I know it's really important to have a student representation.
I'll bet you're going to do something physical, though, right? You're going to work out
always.
something.
I try
always
to
work out.
I try to benefit myself every day because it's just a new feeling with your body, being able to do something different, and it kind of opens new doors for me, just feeling able to do anything at any given time.
And he can, man. I mean, this guy is... He's like a ninja.
Kapori.
Yeah. Spencer, what are you doing after this?
Sleeping.
That sounds perfect, man. Thank you so much for coming in, guys.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having us, Dirt.
So here we are at the What You Can Do Tomorrow section. Rest assured, there'll be a link on my show notes to my earlier episode that's all about Socratic seminars. And there'll also be a link to a blog post I wrote a couple years ago which tells you exactly how to do one. But for this episode, in terms of morphing student identities for your next Socratic seminar, here's what I'd like you to do tomorrow. Number 1, settle on a topic. Consider the unit you're currently teaching. Make a list of big concepts you want students to grasp in a deep fashion. Choose one that could lead to passionate debate or is quite complex, or, with my example of the Syrian Civil War, is both provocative and complex. Hallelujah. Number 2, list the important players. These are people or entities your students will portray in the seminar. You can have 2 or more students represent the same person or group. Assign student roles. This can be done randomly, or instructors can assign roles opposite of what the student would choose. This is a great intellectual challenge because it forces kids to advocate for positions they might dislike. Prompt kids to research. An essential aspect of a Socratic seminar experience is self-directed learning. Create provocative questions that will foster passionate research. These questions will be addressed during the seminar. And finally, encourage kids to be their role. Challenge kids to dress the part, act the part, be passionate, and perhaps dramatic. Just like Spencer with his Donald Trump impersonation. Socratic seminars are wonderful learning experiences. Keep them fresh and engaging by forcing kids to be something they are not. and good luck tomorrow engaging your students.
Show notes for this episode can be found at jamesalansturdivant.com. If you enjoy Hacking Engagement, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes.